There is one divine creator, one God, one universal presence, one something that so loves itself that it has created an entire universe and everything in it, and created it in a way that it can continue to expand for infinitely, and that it expands physically by just creating more space, and it's creating the time in which this universe dwells, and it occupies this universe with fascinating creations. This one presence is throwing itself away as this universe. All that it has, all that it is giving. And because it is infinite, its gifts just keep coming and coming. It cannot not give. It must give of itself. It gives all that it is. Call it abundant, call it generosity. All is given. Nothing is withheld. All that the divine is given. And that includes creating each one here, each one in creating each one here, the divine in creating each one here, intended to create someone who can be an avenue for infinite gifts to be given, and through them to the world. And so each one has been designed and created and surrounded and supported by this loving presence for the purpose of giving its gifts. And so each one here is mandated to accept these gifts. And so all the human opinion and belief, first of all, that there are not infinite gifts, all belief in competition, there's only so much to go around, all belief in limited resources, all belief that the good and the gifts that are given are the forms from which one must take, as well as any belief that one is unworthy or lacks some sort of essential goodness, all belief that one has committed a sin or an error of omission or commission and therefore is now excluded forever, all belief in a permanent hell or an eternal purgatory of suffering, all belief in a need for punishment, and all making up of good reasons for such punishment, all the part and parcel of beliefs that anyone might have that would cause one to believe or feel like it's not good to accept good, is all by this word, erased, evaporated, and vanished. And then, whatever is at the core of each one's being, covered up by some sort of veneer of rejection, resistance, or rebellion, something that says no, not me, to oneself, that personal internal self that says no, that questions, that judges, that criticizes, that comes up with really good reasons why not to accept greater good, that part of the self that comes up with fears and angers and all sorts of sabotaging experiences within each one that takes that form of resistance, rejection, or rebellion. Whatever that inner mechanism is within each one that will work to say no to accepting the greater good is by this word. Released, evaporated, drying up into a mist, vaporizing, going back into the nothingness whence it came, because none of that inner sabotaging mechanism came from the gift of the divine. The divine does not have any resistance, rejection, or rebellion in it. The divine says yes to itself completely, 100% all-in commitment. This is the present of life that's been given. This is the essence of life, the nature of life that is within each one. And so whatever might have accumulated as the sum total of belief of the human race that would restrict the flow of these abundant, infinite, continuously being given blessings is all relaxed, released, evaporated, vanished, and gone. It did not come from God. The divine has created each one to receive its infinite gifts and more and more and more, and in the reception of these gifts to spread them and share them and distribute them with the world, to be an inlet for the outpouring of the infinite blessings of the divine, and an outlet for all of these blessings to reach humanity and this planet and this universe. So all of the life, all of the love, the light, the power, the peace, the beauty, the harmony, the joy, all this has been given with an infinite mind that knows how to use these divine qualities, the spiritual substance, and turn them into good and wonderful things, and that knows how to direct its own self as its law and create all these things. Each one has been created to be a distributor of that which the divine desires to produce using each one. And because this is natural, this is normal, this is healthy, this is the way life is, this is the life that has been given to each one. All and any experience or belief or opinion that life is something else, that it's a learning school, that one needs to struggle, that, or as well as any belief that life is some sort of measuring rod that determines whether one is worthwhile or not, with some sort of happy ending at the end. And all belief in happy endings, as well as any endings, is all by this word erased, evaporated, and vanished, because there is no ending. This one loving presence is giving and giving and giving, and there is never an end to its givingness. And that is the gift of life each one has been given. And each one is now, in some personalized way, more relaxed about saying yes to these blessings, saying yes to the gifts, accepting the gifts, appreciating them, using them, distributing them, valuing them, all experience of forgetting about the gifts, losing them, all feeling of guilt or shame or somehow I shouldn't do this. It's all vanished. The weight of resistance, rejection, and rebellion is gone. Each one is free now, as divinely created, to simply accept the blessings, as each one already did when one was in the womb, when one was a baby, receiving the gifts, the care, the support, the blessings, receiving all that was required, and just enjoying the experience of learning how to use these gifts, and learning how to appreciate them, and learning how many more infinite gifts have been given as unexplored talents and potentials and abilities and skills, and to bring them forth and express and give the gifts of oneself to this world. This is the life that God has made. And any other life that one has come up with and has been living is erased, evaporated, and vanished. It's not the life that's been given. Each one takes this gift of life that has been given by the divine and accepts it and knows that it is given. One does not need to earn it or be worthy of it. And it can never be taken away, no matter what one might have done with this life so far. The gift of life is all given now. All of it. Every bit of it. All of it. Unconditional. And so each one accepts this gift and is now living a life healthier than ever before. Why? Because one has accepted the gift of life, which is health. One doesn't need to do anything or fix anything, or it's given. It's there. The perfect, healthy body is right inside each one's bodies right now. Each one relaxes and just lets it be. And each one is love and must have people and objects and creatures in one's world to share this love and express this love with harmoniously, peacefully, happily, joyfully. And so each one loves the one they're with and enjoys the glory of love that is moving through them, and gives the gift of love, and all thoughts of, oh, they're not loving me back, is erased, because all the love that there is coming from that divine presence, and no love comes from the objects of its creation to each one. Because all love, there's no more love to be gotten than the love that is coming from that loving presence. And so each one is overflowing with love and giving it away to anyone and everyone, even crabby drivers. Each one is just giving the love away, because the love that each one has been given and is accepting is infinite. And so each one knows that they're loved, lovable, and loving, and just joyously gives it all away. And the world is stunned by the amount of love that each one here is giving away. And each one is allowing the gifts of their uniqueness to come forth in wonderful, unique forms, and opportunities getting created to express the creative uniqueness that each one is. And so each one is accepting the new avenues that are created, that are designed to motivate and support and help each one be giving the gift of that unique self that they are. And each one says yes to these opportunities, and they are wonderful, and each one is a success, and it's fabulous. And so all of this, plus all that is required, money, energy, time, space, people, jobs, intelligence, ideas, decisions, anything that is needed to express this unique self that each one has been created to be is given. Each one accepts it, says yes to it, and with spiritual wisdom and spiritual discernment knows the greater good that is always tempting each one forward. And each one is saying yes to it, and with peace and with love and with joy and with harmony, saying no to that which is done, that which is old, that which is ignorant, stupid, and foolish. Each one is moving on with this great and glorious life and loving this life, the real gift of life that has been given. I am grateful this is the truth, and so I release this word to the law, which has already made it so. I have merely just declared what it is automatically doing, and what it does now is work into the consciousness of each one, creating within each one more acceptance of the blessings of life that have been given. This is the truth. I am grateful it's so. I let it go, and so it is. And while I was treating, the room multiplied. Yes, and those of you out there, you have multiplied too. Okay, so let's move forward. This is a really good talk today. We're all fired up with all these practitioners and all these wonderful people we haven't seen for a while coming into the room. Okay, Reverend Rich, take us away.
That could be a more upbeat opening song.
Well, go for it.
We're still opening. I open myself in sweet surrender to the limitless love light of the one. I open myself in sweet surrender to the limitless love light of the one. Opening, I'm opening. I'm opening. I'm opening. I open myself to sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I open myself to sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I'm opening. I'm opening. I'm opening. I'm opening. I open myself to sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I open myself to sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I'm opening. I'm opening. I'm opening. I'm opening. I'm opening. I'm opening. I'm opening.
Yeah.
So if you haven't opened, open, open to the greater good. And so that's all I've got to say. Take us away.
I am opening. I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. I am opening. I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. Oh, goodness.
We got another one, another chance to open. Oh, yes. Okay, and so just connect with your heart, because we've opened to that limitless love light of the one. And now, how would you like to specialize or particularize that this day? And so whatever your personal need is or desire, or whatever you came here to get, whatever that is, just open your heart, lay it on the table before you, and then allow that loving presence to supply you with the gifts, its gifts, that will be the fulfillment of that which is in your heart. So do that now.
I am opening. I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. I am opening. I am opening. My heart is ready to receive.
So are you open yet? For goodness sake. Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Princeton. I'm Jon Heron and I'm a licensed practitioner here at this center. And we are a loving, healing, I didn't go over that statement this morning, but we're loving and healing. That's what we are. Do you need more than that?
No.
Are you open yet? So I just love the treatment that Reverend Karen just gave. It was really beautiful and inspiring, and that's what we're about. We're about being inspiration for your life, for our lives, constant opening to greater and greater love and joy and all those things in our lives, as ourselves, not as someone else, not as something else. And so everything that we do here is for that purpose. So some of the things we are doing, on Wednesday night, my good friend Susan Niedt, who is a practitioner here at the center, does these evening inspirations at 7:30 every Wednesday evening, except the third Wednesday of the month. Okay, so Wednesday evening at 7:30 this week, Susan is doing contemplation and meditation around our understanding and experience of faith. And the cost is $4.01. And the 1 cent is so that we remember that we are the one, there is only one, and we're open, right? So that's also on Saturday mornings at 10:30. A group of us who are writers just join together on Zoom. The link for this session is on our webpage, and it's on Facebook. And if you want to join, you can join. And this Saturday, it's like I'm very busy right now. I'm directing a show, and I have a lot of work to do, right? So I used it as my creative time. I didn't do any writing. So if you're a person who creates, especially a writer, but a person who creates and would like to be in the company of other people who create, come join us. All we do is we start off with a treatment. Most of you know what that is. It's an affirmative prayer, a simple prayer to bring the consciousness of creativity present, and then we shut off our microphones and our cameras, and we spend an hour being creative. Then we check in with each other at the end of the hour. Just a short statement, what did you do? That kind of thing. It's a chance to be together in a creative consciousness. So please come and join us. That's what this center is about, supporting us for our lives. And so this morning, knowing that I was doing the welcome, I went to my old resource that I absolutely love. It's a book called 365 Science of Mind, right? And there's a kind of a short statement of a deeper truth for each day of the year. And I often find they're beautifully written and very inspiring. And so I opened it up this morning and I thought, what a perfect thing. Many of us have been in this teaching for a long time. We know what it's about. And some of us are newer to it. And the first thing here is like, well, that's a good statement about what the science of mind is. Whatever we identify ourselves with, we tend to become. This is sort of one of the basic teachings that we teach here. What you focus on expands. And so if what you focus on is, I'm outraged about this, I'm angry about this, I'm really depressed about that, we get more of that, right? If you focus on, I want to live in a world that is full of creativity and love, guess what you get, right? And it feels too simple, right? It feels too simple. Now, that's not going to work. It doesn't change anything. I still pick up the newspaper and look what it says. Well, there's a question. Why are you picking up the newspaper, right? I still do it, right? I still want to read what's going on. But what I've learned in the process of practicing this teaching is I look at it in a very different way than I used to, right? Oh, here's something. The world is telling me that it's in confusion, that these people are getting killed, that this is happening here and there. I truly believe, as I've learned in this teaching, that by us, each one of us, changing our consciousness and holding a consciousness of peace, if that's what's appropriate for you, we don't just change our lives, we change the world around us. That consciousness of peace, truly focusing on that consciousness of peace, creates greater peace in us, creates greater peace in our immediate world, and creates greater peace in the world. A lot of different ways of responding to the world, right? We can go out, fight the good fight, and all that kind of stuff. There's a higher fight to be fought, and I certainly wouldn't use the word fight with that, right? One of the things we teach is there is only one, that wonderful song that Reverend Rich sang about the beautiful love light of the one. The one. We are all part of that one. And in that one, there is only peace. Peace is the essence of it, of everything that we live for, right? So when you focus on that and bring peace to your consciousness, you strengthen that idea of peace in the world. The more of us that do it, the more we bring that consciousness of peace to the world. Many different ways of us living in the world, and what we teach in Science of Mind is we can change our world and the world around us by what we choose to focus on. So I was going to read this whole thing, but I think it's funny, that one line, whatever we identify ourselves with, we tend to become. Therefore, we should endeavor to identify our physical bodies with a spiritual reality that is the very substance and essence of the physical being. We don't deny the physical body, but we affirm that every organ and action and function of the body is radiant with the perfection of God. So, welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Princeton. That is why we're here, because we want to practice that. We want to learn how to practice that more in our lives. We want to share it with other people because we want to live in a world where people live that way. Welcome.
Okay, sticking with the theme, and a lot of what Reverend Karen said in her treatment, no oldie but goodie. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. This is an opportunity for dancing too. I see people dancing. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. One more time. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Well, you know, there is one infinite mind that knows all, and I don't have to get up here because everything I was going to do has already been done. So, my name is Susan Niedt. I'm a licensed practitioner here. See you later. No, just kidding. Seriously. So, John, are you going to join me?
I'm going to join you.
You might wonder what's going on here today. I wasn't even sure what was going to go on here today until I picked up this book this morning, The Master Speaks by Joel Goldsmith. I'm just going to read this one little section because Karen said it in her treatment. We are avenues, we are distributors, we are givers of love. And why? Joel says, when little groups here and there center their attention on spiritual unfoldment and spiritual demonstration, then ultimately the vision of the spiritual kingdom will spread. And that is what we're going to do here today with me. I'm going to lead you in a guided meditation with that goal in mind. And then I'm going to read a little section from Ernest Holmes and then do a spiritual mind treatment. Now, why is John behind me? John has volunteered to play a flute, something which he has never picked up before. So this is divine guidance in action, a flute that lovely Blessed Deja gave to me as a gift. So there's, it's going around in the circle. So are you ready to join me and send our love out into the world? Great. So let's by starting getting in that comfortable position. closing our eyes if it's available to us. And just feel the support of the chair. And take a nice deep breath in and release anything, any tension that you might be feeling that you could experience right here and right now. The gift of love. And with each breath that you take, that is the breath of God. So let that breath come in and fill you as God indwells. And just feel that love throughout your body. Just be with that presence. And feel the space around you. And know that every space is a space where God is dwelling. And just breathe in that love of God. Feel it filling your whole being with light and love. And when you exhale, we send that love out. So I invite you to put your hands on your heart. And know that each beat of that loving heart is God expressing itself, its life within you. Feel that beat, God in action within you. And feel that love, that is your self-love. Because loving oneself is loving God. And as you feel the love for yourself, I invite you to let your arms gently come back down, but let your fingers be slightly outstretched. So that each breath you take, that love infilling, indwelling, can now be sent out through your body, through your hands, through your heart to the world. To fill that space within and around you with love. So the love comes in and the love goes out. It is a beautiful cycle. As we are avenues and distributors and givers of love, because we are all one, and loving oneself is loving the world. Loving God is loving oneself. So sit with that quiet knowing that love is ever present. Love is everywhere. And love is the one power. Breathing the love, sending the love, distributing the love. And as you sit in that quiet place, continuing to feel that love, I'm going to read beautiful words of Ernest Holmes. The circle of love is complete. It comprehends all, includes all, and binds all together with cords of everlasting unity. We cannot depart from its presence, nor wander from its care. Our love is complete within us. The love of God that binds us to itself and will not let go. And as we sit in the deep silence of the love and peace, I speak these words for each one here, each one watching, each one listening, each one that wished to be here, because we are all one. And any words that I say for each one, I say for everyone. There is one life, and that life is expressing itself in as and each one as love, as light, that it might shine on the world, that it might shine on the path that each one takes. That love is ever present. It is the only power. It is all there is. And it makes faith from fear. It makes whole from that which appears weak. And it blesses everything and everyone that each one meets. It is the one life that knows all. The ever-present, ever-glowing light of love. So each one leaves here today with that love indwelling and that recognition and realization of that love ever present in everything that is done. In the mundane, in the glorious, there is nothing mundane in the world of God. Washing the dishes, driving the car, writing that new novel, directing that play, waking up in the morning and brushing your teeth, whatever it is love expressed in unity with God, the one light that shineth on all, the light that lives and moves and breathes and has its being within. That is God expressed, and that is love. So thank you that I know these words are true. They're in the law, they're already made manifest. And with deep gratitude, I release these words and I say, and so it is. So thank you, everyone. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, Reverend Rich.
Somehow an A minor worked with that. Love, give me peace on earth, give me life, keep me free from birth, give me hope, help me cope with this heavy load, try to touch and reach you with heart and soul. Take hold of my hand, that I might understand you. Won't you please, oh won't you give me love, give me peace on earth, give me life, keep me free from hurt, give me hope, help me cope with this heavy load. Trying to touch and reach you with heart and soul. My Lord. and reach you with heart and soul. My Lord.
Well, I can't even count the number of people in the room. What's happened? The pandemic is over. I don't know. So thank you all for being here. And those of you who are joining us virtually, yay, thank you for being here too. This is some morning, huh? Already, like, I don't know, I'm flying high. And so I want to thank everybody who's been creatively contributing to producing whatever it is that we are doing right now together. Yes. This thing of ours, yes. And so, so those of you who are present, realize that your very presence here is a gift. Because if you weren't here, I wouldn't be doing this. This, whatever it is that we are creating right now, would not be getting created. And, you know, virtually blasted out and saved for whoever might stumble upon it decades from now. And these words that are being spoken in the meditation and the treatment and the music, this inspiration that's flowing is coming from the consciousness that we all have here in this room. And this is being captured by technology forever. For someone who knows, there you are out there, someone, decades from when this was broadcast, who are up in the middle of the night and you need an answer, and for some reason this comes up, and you listen, and you're set free. Wow. Wow. What a gift, right? Right? And so we're talking about accepting the gifts of life that are given to us this morning. And it's an interesting thing, the way we human beings act with gifts. Years ago, our community had a yard sale, I guess. Never again. But everybody brought all their stuff to give, and it was overflowing all over the place. It was really quite a sight to behold. But all sorts of people came, and I remember I was at the cash register. People are checking out, and there was too much stuff to price on any level. Not even like this table, everything there was no way. The place was floor to ceiling stuff. So I got the idea that as people picked their little things, whatever they wanted, they would come to pay for it, and I would say, why don't you pay whatever makes you feel good? And everybody was like, well, that's interesting. And so then they paid whatever made them feel good, and things were going along swimmingly until this one woman came up to me. And I said, pay whatever makes you feel good. And she went, no. Tell me what to pay. I'm like, well, I have no idea what it costs. So whatever, it could be $0, it could be $5, it could be whatever. No, you got to tell me what to pay. And I'm like, I pressed her a little bit more, and she was giving me all the stuff back. I'm like, okay, $5. So she gave me $5 and went scurrying away. I joined a virtual, I play a virtual game far too much. And but over a year ago, I joined a team for the first time. Team of around 40 players. And they come and they go, but there's some basic players. So when you join the team, you have the gift, you have the option of requesting the other players to give you energy. And if you know games, right, you want more energy because that means you can play the game more. And it doesn't take away from all the other players. So they're not using up energy by giving you energy. They want to give you energy, and you have to request it. And I guess every 8 hours, you can make a request for energy. So I felt funny asking for energy when I first joined. And they kept saying, ask for energy, ask for energy. So I asked for I would ask for energy, and then people would give me energy. And then I would write, thank you, BB and DD and tired of it your whole life. You know, all their little names that they've got in, you know, on this particular game. And nobody else was doing that. And in fact, what they were doing was they were thanking you for asking for energy. And I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense. This is wrong. Well, you're not going to change the group, because it's a rule of the group that you request energy, or else they will boot you out of the team. Illogical. Or is it? So what all this has to say is we need to realize that the gifts of life have been given to us, and they're pouring forth on us, and there's all these offers from human beings to help and to assist and whatever. And then how we feel about saying yes to it. And Dr. Grayson, in his book, Spiritual Healing, which I've been using as inspiration, he talks about this inner experience we have of moving forward, of receiving these gifts of life as the 3 R's: resistance, rejection, and rebellion. And here's what he writes. The 3 R's, resistance, rejection, and rebellion, are the mental attitudes within us that allow the 3 L's, I talked about them last week, those beliefs in lack, loss, and limitation. The 3 R's are the mental attitudes within us that allow the 3 L's to take over our consciousness and thus our lives. They come from 2 levels. One is the level of civilization or human history, and the other is the individual's personal perception. What has been called devils or evil through the millennia is nothing more than an objective projection of internal fear, anxiety about life, and insecurity. It is the negative reasoning relative to not being sustained or maintained as a healthy, happy, integrated individual. It is a feeling personally assaulted by all the potential problems of ordinary existence or so-called living. So what we need to realize is, as I think about it in us, because if you're human, you can't get away with it without experiencing it. And I know all of you have made those New Year's resolutions, or you've decided to get your act together, or this is it, from now on, I'm going to exercise every day, I'm going to have this eating program, I'm going to, whatever, right? We make those resolutions, and then very quickly, we feel a resistance to fulfilling it. Maybe you go a couple days, yeah, I feel good, you've got all that motivation. That's why I don't like seminars or retreats that are all gung-ho motivation energy. They fill you all up and you're like, yeah, and they get you to scream and declare that from now on you're going to go whatever. It's a wonderful feeling, but I know what happens to me is when I go home, I'm left with me. And that it comes up first as resistance, as in very, 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 very light, right? I don't wanna. Or I'm a little tired. And then we start, coming up with some good reasons. Well, it's okay. It's okay if you skip one day. You've been doing good. Really, you've got so much other stuff to deal with. It's okay to just let up on this a little bit, right? And then it's that thin edge of a wedge right? Which if you listen to resistance, 2 weeks go by and you're like, oh, I forgot all about that program. Or 3 months go by, or a year goes by. The end of this year, when you all receive your letter to your future self, right? You'll open them up and go, oh, I forgot all about that. Oh yeah, I had that plan. Oh well. That didn't happen because there's something bad about you, something wrong about you. It's in human, not divine, but human nature for the 3 R's to start operating. And so we know, for those of you who've been on a self-improvement journey at all, you know that there's going to be resistance coming up, and what you decide to do is power through it with willpower, right? So you know, and you get a buddy, or a team, mastermind group, and you're all going to power your way through all this stuff, and that overcomes, you think, your resistance. But then what starts happening in you is it gets stronger, and it starts feeling like rejection. You might start hating the people that you're with. Like you might discover that all of a sudden, well, this one, there's this woman that I'm enjoying right now who helps you organize, but she's the most disorganized person of all time. And so as you start moving forward with her ideas and applying them, that rejection, right? You move through the resistance, you thought, and then the rejection starts coming up as, wait a minute, why am I listening to this person? She's a bigger mess than I am. You find good reasons to reject the whole idea. Or I've changed my mind, or it's not good for me, blah, 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 whatever. And then if you somehow manage to get through that, oh my God, outright rebellion shows up. And that rebellion can also be something that shows up as an unconscious creation of your subjective mind, as in a major drama happens in your life that completely distracts you, like really, really good reasons why you can't keep exercising every day. There's a flood and there's nowhere to run. Something like that. I mean, it's not a metaphor here. It happens to us. And so what we need to realize is those 3 R's are not your fault. They're not coming from you personally. They're coming from the human race condition. And maybe it began with the Garden of Eden. Next week we'll talk about innocence and ignorance, leaving the Garden of Eden, right? So there was an apple. What's the big deal? Don't eat it. And resistance, rejection, and rebellion started working, and I'm just going to eat it. And then wham! Kicked out of the Garden of Eden. And what do we begin to believe in? Pain, suffering, and death. So I think because I've experienced continuously the tremendous energy of these 3 R's at work in me, and at some point they're so strong I feel personally powerless over this. So many of us, right, we don't like the word surrender because we believe we're surrendering to the 3 R's, but that's not Reverend Rich when he's saying we surrender, sweet surrender to the limitless love light of the one. We surrender to something positive. But what we think of surrender is surrender to the evils and these 3 R's. And I just give up. I just give up. And drown in a sea of negativity and give up our forward movement in life, our greater expression of ourselves, and give up the gifts that life is giving to us. I believe that the human race somehow, deep at the unconscious level, that cellular level that believes in death, has that because we believe in death, which is a lie, by the way, okay, but because we believe in the lie of death, we have this need to survive. and those 3 R's think that they're helping us to survive. It is to us a matter of life or death in our unconscious feeling experience, right? It really feels that bad. Don't you have? So Stephen Pressfield wrote a book called The War of Art. Horrible title for his book. It's really, every page is about dealing with this resistance and all the different ways it can show up. And what we need to realize is it's not personal. And until we have some of our beings, more of us, rising to the highest level of consciousness that there is possible to attain, the transcendent being, don't look at me, being human, we're going to experience the 3 R's. Just get over it. And realize it's not more discipline that you need. It's not more willpower. It's not more stamina or more integrity of character. I couldn't read the 4 agreements, ever since the book got published until last year, because one of those agreements are to keep your word. And I'm like, I don't want to keep my word. Because I know I've got the 3 R's. I'm not going to keep my word. Because I thought what he meant by that rule of keeping your word was, you keep your commitment. You say you're going to do something, you do it, especially for yourself. And thank God that's not what he means. Go read the book if you want to know more about it. But the thing is that it's those 3 R's that wouldn't even let me read the book. Because I didn't want to deal with those 3 R's. And yet, there's a more powerful force in us, the creative urge, the loving presence that is always calling us to move forward, out of our comfort zone, to become more, to be more, to do more, to enjoy these gifts of life. I did like this amazing treatment before we started about enjoying these gifts of life. And you know what? Those 3 R's have as their purpose, if they were entities. Somebody wrote a book called Taming Your Gremlin. The purpose of the gremlin is to make you unhappy. And these 3 R's have the effect of making us unhappy. Even when we're facing them and moving through them, we're unhappy. I don't wanna, I gotta. This is a war inside of ourselves. And we were not divinely designed to have a war inside ourselves. And so Dr. Stuart Grayson, he had us trained to dissolve the 3 R's every day. To do a spiritual mind treatment, I release my belief in lack, loss, and limitation, and my need for resistance, rejection, and rebellion. We had John talk about the flow, right? We want life to flow. So life is flowing, and we're there building a dam to stop it all up. Or the river is flowing, and we're like, wait a minute, maybe it should be flowing over there. So let's start digging a hole and get the stream going this way. All of this are those 3 R's giving us stupid ideas of, or actually quite creative and intelligent ideas of how not to go with the flow of life. So what do? How many of you, don't raise your hands. If you're at home, raise your hand. Okay. Have had in your lifetime a bad habit that you knew was not good for your health? Don't raise your hands. Right? You drink too much, you smoke too much, you eat too much sugar, you're overweight, you don't exercise. Everybody knows what you should do to be healthy. Why aren't we being healthy? The 3 R's. You don't have to worry about any of your false beliefs. It's those 3 R's. You know what is yours to do, right? You know. That inner guidance within you absolutely knows how to take care of this gift of body that you've been given and to enjoy being in it for the whole time you are in it, with no sickness, no disease, no discomfort whatsoever, right? It's self-maintaining. And do any of us cooperate? We have those of us who believe we're cooperating by, I'm going to really exercise. And you exercise so much that you hurt a part of your body with stress and strain. No, I got to be doing more push-ups, right? And you whatever, you have to go, I don't know. I've only recently got to know physical therapists, useful people. And what do they need to do? They're trying to get your body back to where it naturally is. Why? Because you forced it into doing something else. Why? Because you thought it was better for you? No. That was a lie. That was the 3 R's. Giving you a good idea of how to take care of your body by forcing it into something that it's not equipped to do. But it sounds really good, right? So I don't know how many, I've been watching Wimbledon this week, and John McEnroe, if you're that old, you remember him. He's one of the announcers, and it's kind of funny to see how humbled he is from back then. I loved him then, and I love him now, his humility now. But he's sitting there watching 40-year-old tennis players win. And he's sitting there going, wow, because he didn't believe he could do it. But see, they're being, once they, quote, go professional, in a sense, what that means is they're taking this gift of expressing themselves through tennis very seriously and treating their body in the best way that they can. And, 14 more years of elite tennis playing is now possible, according to the evidence. And who knows where all that can go if each and every one of us, right, from birth, took care of this gift that we know how to take care of, right? So anyway, blah, blah, blah. Don't go into guilt and shame. Why? Guilt and shame come from the 3 R's. Nasty things, aren't they? They'll wreck your life every which way. But to move through it, the only way is to recognize, right, that there is an inner presence that is continuously desiring to create more and more of a free, happy expression as me in a unique way. And it's given me the gift of everything I need to do that. The wisdom and the guidance, a really good body to use, an infinite mind to use, an omnipotent law that'll create anything. The rule book, we don't even need to study a rule book. It's that inner guidance within, and all we need to do is follow it. And the potential of enjoying, loving your life completely is present within each one of us. And all of life is for it. And the only one against it is not even you. I'm not even saying it's you. It's these 3 R's of the human race. So, yes, in spiritual healing, in spiritual study, we realize we've got these false beliefs, right? And we just love whacking them off one by one, one by one. But then also, whenever we go beyond to that edge of what we have known, whenever we start making progress with anything, like we today, maybe you'll have a breakthrough and you'll start moving forward and you'll actually make progress and you'll see it. You'll see, my gosh, I'm actually attaining something that I thought I never could, right? And then what you want to be aware of, ripe time for the 3 R's to start poking up They're little ideas. And creating good reasons and conditions to distract you and move you away from it. So, number one, when you deal with the three, first of all, okay, here's some rules about the 3 R's that I personally have learned and applied and that work. Even though as I say it, I also need to acknowledge I don't always use it myself. Why not? The 3 R's. Okay? So no blame, no shame. Number one, accept that they're just going to be there. And what you want to do is focus on how to have a relationship with them. I love in, I think, AA support groups, I think that they came up with that little phrase to those voices in your head, thank you for sharing. Right? So in that book, Taming Your Gremlin, what he recommends is that you just notice that gremlin, those 3 R's coming up. You just notice they're there. Notice how it feels in you. When I have, I'll share with you, when I have done what I think is a really fabulous talk, maybe this afternoon, right? I'll have like this feeling, wow, that was a good one. Thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God. Because I know, like, Karen is clueless, but thank you, the divinity within me, whew, blown me away. So if I have that experience, a little after that, I'll start feeling lousy. And then maybe I'll remember something like, you know, I didn't really say hello to that person. Or I said something to that person, and then, you know, they started crying. You know, it's the 3 R's whose purpose are to make me miserable. So what you want to do is develop a relationship with them so that when they come up as a lousy feeling, they come up as these ideas of how you hurt or harmed yourself or others, or some thoughts about why you're bad or why you can't do it, or, oh yeah, you made progress, but look at these other people compared to you, blah, 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 whatever. All that kind of stuff that makes you start feeling lousy, what you want to do is go, aha, 3 R's at work. It's not me. And then just allow yourself to take care of yourself. You don't have to fight with them, because they'll win. Because they win as soon as you try to fight with them. That's their job, distract you. But to just feel them. It feels lousy to feel lousy, but to just feel it and realize, remember, it's not me that's feeling lousy. It's these 3 R's. They're not a part of me. I don't choose them. They're not me. Who was it? Someone in our opening said, was that John? What you identify with, you tend to become. So don't identify with the 3 R's. They're not me, but I get it. It's like rain. The rain isn't you, but you're getting wet. That's all. You're just getting wet. It feels lousy. It's icky. I'm filled with guilt. I'm filled with shame. Okay, fine. But it's not me. What's really, what it is, so then, okay, you accept that they're going to happen, especially when you start making real progress with your life. When they do happen, you don't engage with it. You just feel it. Don't identify with it. And then realize, because they are there, it means you are making progress. So it's a good sign. Yes, I'm feeling lousy. It means I was really, really good. Right, whatever. Dr. Stuart Grayson talks about the 3 R's. He says, watch out for the 3 R's and the 3 L's, right? The world, bless you, world, right? But what a mess. The 3 L's and the 3 R's are rampant. And unfortunately, the way that the world's persona presents itself to us through the news, through the media, is all the 3 R's and the 3 L's. I bet if you sat there watching the news or reading your news on the social media or whatever it is, you could identify, oh, that's an L, that's an R, that's an L, that's an R, that's an L. In fact, that's your homework. Although I'll share with you right now, I'm not doing it. But, if you want, to just read an article or somebody's podcast or whatever, and just identify, that's an L, that's an R, that's an L, that's an R, that's an L. To just realize how the world is just screaming, it's fear, right? It's belief in death. But, we're eternal life. The body that we have been given right now isn't the body we were born with. That body's dead. It's gone. This body that you have now is just something you're using to express the real you through. So we don't have to worry about death. So at some point we're going to drop this whole thing just because we're bored with it. I'm tired of Earth. Goodbye. I'm out of here. There's bigger. Let's get off of this comfort zone called Earth. Let's go see what's going on elsewhere. Anyway, the world is arguing to us and is presenting horrible pictures of lack, loss, and limitation that Dr. Grayson thinks are so important to handle and work with treatment. So just go ahead and look. The world is screaming, presenting us horrible pictures of lack, loss, and limitation. Right next to the horrible picture that they're showing you, there's something beautiful going on in the building next door. Oh, no, we're not showing that you. It doesn't sell. Nobody cares. Of course not. Watch out for resistance to good, resistance to spirit, resistance to the teaching, resistance to life. Watch out for rejection. You can reject the good because sometimes when moving forward in the good, you have to give up certain old concepts and experiences and expressions, people, places, things, situations, events. Inwardly, you don't want to give them up. You don't want to release them. You don't want to move forward, but would rather stay in the comfort of your security blankets. Someone just gave me the most beautiful blanket last week. It's beautiful. I don't want to get out of it. Rebellion is that kind of stubbornness within the individual that is perpetually arguing against this forward movement. It rebels against having to work, having to release the old, having to embrace the new idea in order to attain the new, the greater, and the better. We wanted, so in my advice to develop a relationship with those 3 R's that put them outside of you. It's a gremlin. It's not me, it's that stuff. It's the world. And you have to have a relationship with it, which is, yes, I acknowledge you're there. Thank you for sharing. And I'm also going to know in the midst, my mix here, that I'm doing something right. Because this is so loud. And breathe. Request spiritual mind treatment with our 14 licensed practitioners that are aching to do some treatment work, right? And do your own spiritual work as you feel comfortable with it, and get confident in it, right? Dr. Stuart Grayson has a treatment in the back. I'll save that one for next week. But let me close with this, okay? Because this is where we want to go. So, the other thing about those 3 R's is when you're feeling, just take a deep breath and relax your body and surrender, that sweet surrender to the limitless love light of the One. All is well. I live confidently. There is a power for good in the universe, and it operates around and within me always. I am never outside the divine embrace. I am within the mind called the infinite thinker that created me and sustains me in right action. There is no negative impulse in the universe. Anything within me that would partake of a life-denying or destructive thought, belief, or expectancy is now uprooted and dissolved. I anticipate only God's perfect ideas manifesting as wholeness, harmony, and abundant good. Whatever the challenge may be, at the instant of need, the fulfillment and supply appears. I live with spiritual confidence. I accept myself as forever supported by the divine giver. I am always in a state of balance and order, and my future is one of health, joy, and prosperity. And so it is.
I hope you never lose your sense of wonder. Get your fill to eat, but always keep that hunger. May you never take one single breath for granted. God forgive love never leaves you empty-handed. I hope you still feel strong when you stand beside the ocean. When everyone but closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me you'll give faith a chance. When you get the chance, sit it out and dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you never feel. Never settle for the path of least resistance. Living might mean taking chances, but they're worth taking. Loving might be a mistake, but it's worth making. Don't let some held that heart leave you bitter. When you come close to selling out, reconsider. With the heavens above, more than a setting plans. When you get the choice, sit it out or dance. I hope you 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 still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me you'll give faith a fighting chance. When you get the choice, sit it out or dance. Dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance.
Perfect song to end. So that concludes. Let me just make sure I say hello to everybody out there. Angela and Clee, good morning. Regina, good to see you. Craig Richards here from Thailand. Raul, hello. By the way, spiritual mind treatment from last week, let me know. Catherine, hello, welcome. Robert's here, Joe, they're all waving at you guys. Angel.
There's an announcement that needs to be made.
And there's an announcement that needs to be made. Okay, so Regina says, I thought they were waving at me. They're like so happy now. So Regina gives us a quote from Dr. Grayson: the more spiritual treatment you do, the thinner is the fear and resistance laid over the essential pure inner light of being. Having the resistances melted down, as it were, brings about healing in your life. So there we go. You've got all that to look at, and John's here to do a special announcement.
Special announcement, the spiritual mind announcement.
Yes.
Next Sunday after the service, hot diggity dog. Oh, how old you have to be to remember what that statement means. But okay, after the service, outside in our parking lot, we're going to have a wonderful, there will be food, a chance for us to all get together. We're calling it hot diggity dog because there are going to be hot dogs of every kind. If you're a vegan, if you're a vegetarian, if you like a good piece of beef hot dog, you'll have it. And there'll be many other things there too. Please come and join us. Today, we're seeing that us being here in person, everybody is beginning to feel safe and is joining us physically here at the Masonic Lodge in Princeton. And we invite you to come. Next week is a great opportunity to start joining us again. And you can come for the service. You know, we start at 10:15. But after the service, say around noon, we will be having food and a chance to mix with everybody and to enjoy the great company of everybody who comes here to the services. Hot diggity dog. That's my announcement.
I can't help it. God makes me want to sing and dance. I can't help it. God makes me want to sing all day. Makes me feel so good. I can do most anything. I love it. Every little thing. I can see the face of God in all the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're all precious, no one less or more. We've all got the same treasures we saw. That's why I'm loving every little thing I do. I can't help it. God makes me want to sing and dance. I can't help it. God makes me want to sing all day. Makes me feel so good. I can do most anything. I believe in my guiding light. No matter what comes, it always just turns out right. Yeah, just get right down to how I feel. Take a deep breath, baby, grab the wheel. I believe in my guiding light. I can't help it. God makes me want to sing and dance. I can't help it. God makes me want to sing all day. Makes me feel so good. I can do most anything. I am rising to a higher place. With the wind at my back and a smile upon my face.
A big smile on my face.
I'm living my dream a little more each day, and it keeps getting easier to find my way. So I'm rising to a higher place. I can't help it. God makes me want to sing all day. I can't help it. God makes me want to sing. Come on, let's dance.
All day.
Makes me feel so good.